What's good, y'all? It's the one and only King Cal 516 live in the mix, and this is the Swiss Flames Podcast. Be sure to check out our website, www.swissflames.com. Hit us up on Twitter at Swiss Flames and check out the Facebook, YouTube page at Swiss Flames Podcast. So we're going to get right into this on this early Monday morning, and we're going to talk about Carmelo Anthony. That's right, Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony makes the Lakers a big four. You know, we keep talking about the big three. Everybody's focused on Russ and how he's going to adapt with LeBron and AD. But most importantly, I truly believe Carmelo Anthony makes the Lakers a big four. Now, we're going to break this down. And I want to, before we even break this down, I want to make sure I put this out there. Later on, we're going to talk about Ja Morant. It's going to be an epic episode that I'm going to release later on. It's going to be very controversial in what I'm going to say later on. So be on the lookout for that later today. I'm going to get into Ja Morant because obviously the Lakers defeat the Grizzlies last night. It was an epic matchup, which basically ended up with Ja Morant miss a free throw at the end to tie the game to set it to overtime, and the Lakers were able to squeeze one out against the Grizzlies by winning by 3 points. But we're going to get into something later with Ja Morant, and trust me, it's going to be epic, so make sure you guys look out for that. But Carmelo Anthony, to me, makes the Lakers a big four. See, basically, a couple years ago, when Carmelo Anthony was trying to get back in the league, a lot of people wanted him to go to Lakers and was wondering why LeBron didn't get Carmelo on the team, right? And I think, in my opinion, what probably happened in that situation was Lakers management probably didn't want to touch Melo, and my guess would be, and I'm speculating here, I just want to make sure that I be clear about that. When they had Kyle Kuzma at the time they had him, basically if you bring in Melo, he's basically, what are you going to do with him? What role would you give him? Basically, if you look at it right now, Melo has Kyle Kuzma's role with the Lakers right now, or what they expected from Kyle Kuzma, right? Now, Kyle Kuzma, I will give him this, right? Where he was inconsistent offensively, Kyle Kuzma rounded out his game, right? So by the end, now Kyle Kuzma's now with the Lakers, but by the end of his reign with the Lakers last season, Kyle Kuzma is a better all-around player, even though his scoring suffered a lot tremendously playing behind. It was more, not so necessarily when LeBron came in, it was a lot more when Anthony Davis came in, right? Because Kyle Kuzma, really, his best position, in my opinion, is being a stretch four, right? You can put him at the three, right? But he's better at a stretch four, because if you put him at the four, you depend on his ball handling a little bit less, right? At the three, he could be a little bit erratic sometimes with his ball handling and playmaking decision. That at the four, if you put him as a spacing four, you may get better results. That's just my thoughts, my opinion. But Kyle Kuzma, what he did was he got better at rebounding and he got better at perimeter defense, right? But overall, Kyle Kuzma was supposed to be that guy coming off the bench pretty much as a six man and give you that boost off the bench, but he wasn't doing it consistently, right? And as much as people could complain about, LeBron stunts people's growth and all that, really, think about the time when AD and LeBron went down last season. Kyle Kuzma still didn't step up to the plate, even with both of those guys out consistently, right? But here's the big difference between Melo and Kyle Kuzma. Melo, obviously, is way more experienced, but Melo has always been and will be light years ahead of Kyle Kuzma and how skillful offensively he is. Kyle Kuzma is nowhere near Melo's level of skill. And even though Melo is much older, obviously, but he's savvy, and Melo can still get to his spots, right? Melo is smart, you know what I'm saying? So these veterans, when they have all this experience, and he's the highest of orders of a scorer. You remember the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant always said, out of all those new cats, LeBron, Wade, and Melo, he always said that Melo was the hardest to guard. Part of that was Melo was strong, right? You know what I'm saying? Melo would know how to use his body. Melo never really had the greatest physique. Now, as Melo gotten older, Melo has, shed some of that weight off that he used to have, right? And his physique is now, a lot more amazing than it was when he was younger in his prime, right? But Melo used to have that weight, and he would know how to use it against people to get the shot that he wants. He was very strong. So Melo is very more polished offensive talent than Kyle Kuzma. And so basically, a few years back, I believe that the Lakers decided hey, we got Kyle Kuzma. If we try to even toy with this Melo idea, we're going to take away from Kyle Kuzma. It is what it is. I think that was a mistake. But nevertheless, here we are. Game 3 of the season. Carmelo Anthony drops 28 points, lead all scores on the Lakers. Helped them get their first win. He went 6 for 8 for threes. And my question to you today, have we been sleeping on that the Lakers have a big 4 and not just a big 3? I think Carmelo Anthony is going to be big for the Lakers this season. I think that he's going to be a great asset. And here's why I think the Lakers are going to be dangerous. Once Trevor Ariza comes back, right? Because remember, Trevor Ariza hasn't played with the Lakers yet. But once Trevor Ariza comes back, he's going to unlock the Lakers in a way that they can't fully unlock on the wings because they don't really have the height on the wings. But Trevor Ariza, he's another 6'8" guy. Here's where the Lakers are going to be dangerous because it's like if you alternate Ariza and Melo, you're going to give yourself the opposite dynamic because where Melo may not be strong defensively, Ariza is a beast there and tough there. Where Ariza may not be great offensively, Melo is great and tough there. So what am I saying? I'm saying when Trevor Ariza comes back, the Lakers can toy a lot more with Anthony Davis at the 5, even from the start, right? Because if you have Trevor Ariza in the game to start, and this is why I do believe Melo's best suited coming off the bench. Because if you look at all the players on the Lakers, everybody in rotation, who do you trust more to be a spark plug off the bench? There's nobody there that they have greater than Carmelo Anthony. And if Carmelo Anthony comes in the game, he's going to have way more of a green light than starting with the starters. It's not to say that he won't have a green light with the starters, but if he comes in, you know what I mean, and just be able to start green lighting, he'll give the team a lift. Where in the starting lineup, it's not that he won't give a lift. I just think that for this team right now, the way they're constructed, he's the best option to come off the bench to provide that consistent scoring that the bench needs. And so if the bench runs through Melo offensively, everybody else, wherever they give, trickles in. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're going to be able to be dependent on Melo to consistently give you something off that bench. You know what I'm saying? Melo will give you something consistently off that bench. Melo's still good to at least give you at least 15 points, right? We know that. And so if you can count on Melo for that coming off the bench, that's going to take a lot of pressure off your starters. But if you have Trevor Ariza now, what that does is if you're able to put Trevor Ariza with those starters, he gives you a physical toughness. You know, the Lakers, for instance, you know, let's just be really honest. They've been getting killed on the offensive glass in these first few games, right? Trevor Ariza puts a toughness to that team when he comes back that's going to enhance it to a great degree. So I'm interested to see when Ariza comes back if they pull that trigger, even taking DJ out of the starting lineup and roll AD and Trevor Ariza, you know what I'm saying, be, you know, that big guy off the wings for defensive purposes. And I think once you see that, I think the Lakers are going to be a lot stronger as a team once that happens. But Melo, to me, needs to be getting his respect, and I believe that he is part of the big 4 because that consistent scoring coming off the bench is going to make them lethal. Because the one thing I know about Carmelo Anthony, he's going to show up in the playoffs, right? So that is going to translate to the playoffs where you don't have to worry about some other guy that you're depending on that role of 6-man not being there when it's all said and done. And when it's needed in crunch time, you know Melo's going to be there. And he's also a guy that hits his free throws. You know, he hit the game-winning free throws yesterday. You know what I'm saying? To clinch the game, right? So we know Melo's clutch. He's a very smart player. And if he's hitting on all cylinders, you best believe that somebody who's controlling the tempo in the game towards the end of the game, such as LeBron James, is going to make sure he gets his looks. Because the one thing about LeBron reads the game. And so LeBron understands if this guy's got it going, he's going to let that guy rot. As much criticism as LeBron gets, you understand what I'm saying? He is able to put the ball in somebody else's hand if you trust him. You see what I'm saying? If LeBron has trust for you, he will let you get those looks in the crunch time. LeBron was giving Melo the ball crunch time. And so the fact that we see already that Melo has that kind of trust even from somebody of the likes of LeBron James, which it's understandable. Melo has earned it. And we want to congratulate him because yesterday, with all that scoring he did, he became 9th on the all-time scoring list, passing Moses Malone. But in crunch time, if you see it, even at this point in the season where LeBron is going to go to you in the clutch, That's a lot of trust. And what I'm trying to say is that trust is there already. These guys have a history, and that's going to translate to the playoffs, because Melo's going to give you this production in the playoffs as well. I'm not saying he's going to drop 28 a game. That's not what I'm saying. But he's going to have games like that for you. Right? But like I said, Melo is at least good for 15. So the Lakers, like I said, there's nobody else you could depend on the bench, even when you're fully healthy, consistently giving you that. I mean, right now, we don't... Jalen Horton-Tucker hasn't proved that. I mean, Kendrick Nunn is a pretty decent option as well, in my opinion. But he's still young. I mean, Kendrick Nunn, I believe this is only, his third season in the NBA? So he's still young himself, right? So come playoff time, you want that veteran presence who has that experience that you can rely on. And I believe for the Lakers, getting that 15-point per game scorer coming off the bench guaranteed like a Melo is going to be important. And this is why I personally put him, in the big four. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the Lakers are just a big three. They're a big four. People need to give Carmelo Anthony his respect, because he's still, to me, when it comes to just offensively speaking, especially his efficiency, he's still of the highest order. You know what I mean? And with that said, it's your boy King Cal 516 signing off. This has been the Swiss Flame Podcast. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Definitely show your support. Until next time, remember later on, we're going to get into a serious Ja Morant episode where we're going to put something out there. It's going to be a little controversial, but I'm going to stand behind it. It's your boy King Cal signing off. If you feel so inclined to donate to the podcast, hit up the Cash App, $King Cal 516. Peace out.